Virgo, listen, take a breath. Actually take one, because I need you present for this, not spinning in anticipation about some promised event that may or may not happen by an arbitrary deadline. There is energy moving in your life right now, real energy, the kind that's been building momentum, the kind that's approaching a point where it could translate into visible outcome. But that energy doesn't operate on content calendar timelines. It doesn't care about weekends or specific days. It moves according to its own rhythm, its own timing, its own requirements for manifestation. Stay grounded, because what I'm about to tell you isn't designed to create urgency through artificial deadlines. It's designed to help you understand what's actually building so you can meet it consciously when it arrives, whether that's this weekend, next week, or next month. The timing matters less than your readiness. The specific day matters less than your capacity to recognize and respond to what's emerging. Can you shift from deadline-focused anxiety to present moment awareness? Drop a comment if you're willing to let go of the timeline pressure. Because here's what I'm actually picking up on in your energy field. There's acceleration happening. Things that have been moving slowly are starting to move faster. Things that have been stuck are starting to unstick. Things that have been in process are approaching completion. And that acceleration, it's creating a sense of urgency, a feeling that something's about to break through, a recognition that you're close to something shifting in a significant way. But acceleration doesn't mean instantaneous. Fast doesn't mean immediate. Approaching doesn't mean arrived. What it means is pay attention, stay aware, be ready to respond when the moment comes. But don't manufacture crisis around arbitrary timelines. Does this feel more honest than a promise of guaranteed shock by the weekend? Let me know in the comments, because let me be specific about what kind of movement I'm sensing. For some of you, this is about communication. Someone's been building toward reaching out, building courage, building clarity, building past their own resistance, and they're close to the point where not communicating becomes more uncomfortable than communicating, close to breaking their own silence. But I can't tell you that's definitely happening this weekend. I can tell you the energy is building toward it, that it feels imminent, that the probability is high. But imminent could mean days, could mean a week, could mean the right conditions aligning in a time frame I can't precisely predict. For others, this is about opportunity, something you've been working toward, positioning yourself for, building capacity around, and doors are starting to open, pathways are becoming visible, possibilities are emerging that weren't there before. But again, I can't promise it manifests before Monday. I can only tell you the conditions are ripening, that you're approaching a breakthrough, that staying ready matters more than knowing exactly when. For others still, this is about internal shift, a realization that's been forming beneath conscious awareness, an understanding that's trying to break through, a clarity that's been building in the background. And it's close to surfacing, close to becoming conscious, close to shifting how you see yourself or your situation or your path forward. But internal breakthroughs don't follow external calendars. They come when you're ready, when the final piece clicks, when the understanding can no longer be avoided. Which scenario feels most relevant to your situation? Comment below and let me know, because here's what you need to understand about speed. When things move fast, when shifts happen quickly, When acceleration creates rapid change, it can feel disorienting, even when the change is positive, even when you've been wanting it, even when it's exactly what you've been working toward, because your nervous system is calibrated to your current reality. And when reality shifts quickly, your system needs time to adjust. So if something does happen fast, if this weekend does bring significant development, if the shock actually manifests, you might feel off balance. You might feel anxious even though things are good. You might feel uncertain even though clarity just increased. And that's normal. That's not evidence something's wrong. That's just your system recalibrating to new circumstances. So be gentle with yourself. Don't expect yourself to just seamlessly adapt without any adjustment period. Give yourself space to integrate whatever shifts. Have you been preparing yourself for the disorientation that can come with rapid change? Let me know in the comments, because I want to address the shock element. Shock implies something completely unexpected, something you had no indication was coming, something that catches you totally off guard. But here's the truth. If you've been paying attention, if you've been tracking the energy, if you've been aware of what's building, it's probably not going to be total shock. It's probably going to be more like confirmation. Like, yes, I felt this coming, even if I didn't consciously acknowledge it, because your intuition picks up on things before your conscious mind does. Your body registers shifts before your brain processes them. Your gut knows before you can articulate the knowing. So the shock might actually be the shock of your intuition being validated, the shock of what you sensed being confirmed, the shock of reality matching what you've been picking up on but maybe dismissed. And that's different than random surprise. That's different than something coming from nowhere. That's you being more tuned in than you give yourself credit for. That's your guidance system working. That's proof you can trust what you're sensing even when you can't prove it yet. Does this reframe shift how you think about what's coming? Drop a comment if this lands, because here's what I'm also sensing. Whatever happens, whether it's this weekend or later, whether it's shocking or more subtle, whether it's exactly what you expect or completely different, you're going to have to respond to it. And your response matters more than the event itself, because life is always presenting opportunities, challenges, developments. The question isn't whether things happen. The question is how you meet them when they do. Do you meet them from your center or from your reactivity? Do you respond from clarity or from old patterns? Do you make choices that align with your actual values or choices that just feel safe or familiar? So instead of fixating on what might happen and when, focus on being ready to respond well. Focus on staying connected to your knowing. Focus on maintaining clarity about what you actually want and need, because that readiness, that's what actually serves you. Not knowing exactly when something will happen, but being capable of handling it well when it does. Can you shift focus from predicting timing to building readiness? Let me know in the comments, because I want to talk about what watch this before the weekend actually implies. It implies urgency. It implies you'll miss something if you don't pay attention right now. It implies there's a deadline you need to meet, and that's designed to manipulate, to create anxiety, to make you feel like you have to act immediately or lose out. But real guidance doesn't operate that way. Real wisdom doesn't create artificial urgency to force compliance. Real guidance says, here's what I'm seeing. Here's what appears to be building. Here's what might serve you to be aware of. And then it trusts you to use that information in whatever time frame actually works for you. So I'm not going to tell you that you have to watch this before the weekend or miss your chance. I'm going to tell you that there's energy moving in your life that deserves your attention whenever you're ready to give it that attention. Today, tomorrow, next week. Whenever you can actually be present with it instead of just anxiously consuming content. Does this feel more respectful of your agency? Comment below if you appreciate this approach. Because here's what else I need you to hear. Even if something significant does happen this weekend, even if the acceleration does produce visible outcome, even if the shock does manifest, it's not the end of the story. It's not the final chapter. It's not the thing that solves everything or changes everything permanently. It's a development, a shift, a piece of the larger journey you're on. And how you respond to it, what you do with it, how you integrate it into your ongoing life, that's what actually determines its impact. That's what makes it meaningful versus just momentarily exciting. So receive whatever comes, let it land, let yourself feel whatever you feel about it, and then keep building. Keep choosing, keep showing up for the larger vision you're moving toward. Because one event, one weekend, one shock, it's not your whole life. It's part of your life. And parts only matter in the context of the whole. Does this help you maintain perspective? Let me know in the comments, because I want to address what might be happening in you right now. Part of you might be hoping desperately that something good happens this weekend, might be fixating on the timeline, might be scanning anxiously for signs that the shock is coming, and that hoping it's understandable. When you've been waiting for something to shift, when you've been working without seeing results, when you've been patient for so long, the promise of something happening soon feels like relief, like finally, like proof that your effort hasn't been wasted. But that desperate hoping, it's also exhausting. It's also setting you up for potential disappointment if the weekend comes and goes without dramatic development. So here's what I want you to do. Hope, but hold it lightly. Stay open to possibility without being attached to specific timing. Maintain awareness without creating anxiety. Let yourself want good things to happen. Let yourself believe they can happen. But don't stake your entire sense of okayness on whether they happen by Sunday night, because your worth doesn't depend on whether this weekend brings shock. Your value doesn't hinge on whether acceleration produces immediate visible result. You're already worthy. You're already valuable. You're already okay even if nothing dramatic happens. Can you hold hope without desperation? Drop a comment if you're willing to try. Because here's what I really want you to take from this. There is real energy moving in your life. There is genuine acceleration happening. There is legitimate potential for something significant to shift, but I can't promise it happens before the weekend. I can't guarantee shock by a specific deadline. I can't make the universe conform to content calendar timelines. What I can do is help you recognize the signs that something's building, help you stay aware and ready, help you navigate whatever emerges with consciousness instead of reactivity. And that's more valuable than a false promise about timing. That's more useful than manufactured urgency. That's more respectful of your intelligence and your agency. So pay attention, stay aware, notice what's shifting around you and in you, but do it from groundedness, not anxiety. From presence, not desperate hoping. From curiosity, not attachment to specific outcomes in specific time frames, because the shock might come this weekend, or it might come next week, or it might unfold more gradually than the word shock implies. But whatever happens and whenever it happens, you're ready for it. You're capable of meeting it. You're prepared to respond with consciousness. And that readiness, that's what actually matters. Not the timing, not the drama, not the shock, but your capacity to stay present and aware and responsive to what life brings. You've got this, whether it happens fast or slow, whether it shocks or subtly shifts, whether it's this weekend or later, you're ready. I don't sell futures, I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic, stay in the now.